Out here on a little neighborhood lake, going a little bit of BFS fishing. So we got the little Surinoya crankbait, Surinoya Dark Wolf Ultra BFS reel, and the Surinoya Dragon rods. You can see those there. But yeah, I'm gonna get out here and see if I can get a few bluegill to bite before dinner. And I'm just using it's an 8-pound braid, Baravoss 8-pound braid. It's the PE8. This particular bait for Suriname sinks, and you can just slow wind it and it'll get down to the bottom, but it's got a lip on the front and a spinner on the back, so it has a real subtle action. And you can dart it, it'll dart around, act a little bit like a jerkbait. One thing I have noticed, if your knot kind of gets up on top of the line tie, it kind of runs a little funny, so I like to keep that knot kind of down and forward on the bait. So like sometimes when you hang it in your rod, your hook hanger, it pulls that knot way up high up on the hook hanger or on the line tie. So if you just, I've got a uni knot on there and I'll push it down, so it's kind of keeps the bait running right, swimming right. It has a nice little side to side shimmy because of that lip, and it slow sinks. So if you give it a second, it'll get under the water and start doing its thing, and then you can just absolutely creep it along. It's February. We're in the middle of a warming trend. We've had a couple of pretty warm days. I just saw a bluegill swirl right there. Oh yeah, a couple of them swirling right there on something. But fish are just starting to come out of their winter deal and maybe thinking about doing their normal stuff. Getting bit through there. Not getting a hold of it. Must be smaller bluegill. Last night, everyone that bit was a freaking giant, and I'll show you some pictures, but so it was easy. It's like you get a little tick and you just lean back a little bit and you'd have a bluegill, big bluegill every time. But you felt that lure just changing any little bit on that slow wind, and it was like game on. Lost my line there. I had a line where about 3-4 casts in a row I had a bite. I got that one. Those must be bass. That's too big. That's too big to be a bluegill. Alright, little bait finesse bass, that's okay. I like it. The drag on the bait finesse reels is kind of unique, so I don't rely on it a whole bunch. Yeah. And I'm using a little bit. This is just 8-pound braid, so let's see if I can get them up here. Oh gosh. Down the hatch, son. Goodness gracious. Do some real gentle surgery here. Yeah, the hooks were going the right way. It was easy to get out. Get him back. He's bleeding a little bit. Got that line of muck. I hate to throw them in the muck. Half the time they get stuck when you throw them in here real close. If you just drop them in real close, you got to pitch them out there a little bit. I really enjoy there's something out there. I really enjoy the BFS. It's something different. I really like to learn new things, and so another little bass. And I mean, yeah, if you come out here with your extra heavy rod, this ain't very much fun. But if you come out here with some 8-pound line and a little bitty lure and like 6-pound leader on there, golly, they keep wanting to they're getting that thing. I mean, that's how the bluegill were getting it. I'd get a bluegill last night and I'd have to get all 3 trebles of the back hook out every single time. But yeah, what I was saying, I enjoy the BFS. I'm experimenting. It's something new, learning to throw little bitty light lures with a light gear. And this rod's a 2-piece, so it breaks down. I can throw it in my truck. I travel all over the place. I'm always on the go for work and family, and so I can put a little BFS kit together, have it in my truck with me when I travel, or my suitcase or whatever, and hit some little small little hotel lake or neighborhood lake, or I'm on a little creek or a river or whatever. This is like perfect for doing all that like small water hunting. And I take it on Kentucky Lake and catch a pile of crappie on this already. So I started with the Jinko BFS rods, and they're freaking awesome. If you're going to catch big crappie, like, that's the way to go. These littler rods let you throw light baits, but it gets a little sketchy when you get a 2-pounder on and you got to land it. So, I mean, I don't have any scent on this hard bait, and it absolutely wore them out last night. So I'm wondering what it could do if you find a good wad of them on a bed. Or, you know, the biggest school of red ear I ever found wasn't spawning. They were pre-spawn. They were in the last ditch in the back of a bay. And when I say the last ditch, the whole bay was like 2 foot deep, and the ditch was 3 feet deep, and there was probably 4 or 5 dozen laying in that ditch, and happened to be while we were fishing a tournament. And we weighed 20 shell crackers that weighed 19.8 pounds, and we broke off the 2 biggest ones because we didn't have a net. I didn't think you would need a net for a shell cracker tournament. But fishing with 4-pound line, we tried to swing one in and the line broke. We tried to swing another one in and the hook straightened out and it got off. And they were both bigger than the biggest fish we weighed, and the big fish was like 2.8. So we had some freaking hammers that day. It was incredible. But yeah, I'm real anxious. You know, I think this would have worked them. Holy moly, if I could have found that little ditch and had this little cricket, whew, this little setup, been ugly. Golly, really? I thought I had one right there, and I didn't jerk. I felt like tension, and I didn't jerk, and then I felt the fish. Had I jerked, I'd have caught him when I felt that change in tension, but I didn't do it. I struggled last night too with, man, there was a bite right there. It might get going now. Yep, there's one. That's a bluegill. Let's see what we got for size. He's throwing his head pretty good. I can feel when he gets sideways. Oh, now he's not mad. That's a big female. Wow. Pretty bars. Wow, that purple coloring. How pretty is that? Goodness gracious. Alright, red eyes. You don't think they're ready for spring? We think we're ready for spring. They're real ready for it. This is usually tricky. What you got to do is get one side out and then twist away from that side, and usually you can start to get them out without hurting them. So, but that's a pretty good size for a female. Let's see if we can get one of those bulls going now. I will say with the BFS, a sidearm cast is way better than trying to go over your shoulder. You can get more distance, more accuracy. Over the shoulder the rod tends to flex and do too much on you. And it will flex real hard down towards the water, which will shorten your cast and cause you to overrun a lot. There's another one. Yeah, it's gonna get going now. That one's pulling good. But I mean, look at the action on that. I mean, it's just a bluegill, another little female, looks like. Oh yeah, big female. Wow. Pretty. He didn't even have it in the mouth. Just on the outside of his mouth. It's not easy to throw light lures on bait casting tackle. Now, obviously, this gear's set up for it, the way they gear these reels and do these shallow spools. And That's what makes BFS unique. Has different gearing, which means you have different drag systems, but you're able to throw little bitty baits as far as you can throw a regular bait on normal bass, conventional bass tackle. So well, finally got us one. I don't think he's very big the way he's acting, so I like when they got one or two. They're a lot easier to get off. Probably play with those Rapala inline hooks, and although I really like the hookup on these little bitty hooks that come on that Cernoia baits called a Century, and the little hooks that come on it, man, you want to talk about catching panfish. Wow. I had a crappie over 2 pounds the last time I BFS. Oh, there we go. They just move a little bit. That must be what it is. They're just meandering to get off a different line. That one's throwing his head like he's a little bit bigger. We'll see. A shabby one. Good looking male. Boy, they're purpled up right now. It's pretty. At home, when they get close to spawning, they get so dark. And I think it probably has a lot to do with whatever the bottom looks like, so. But that's a nice one. A lot bigger mouth to work with here since he's got all 3 trebles again. Oh yeah, we got one free right there. So, twist one out, and then we twist back the other direction, get the other one out. I mean, how pretty is that? That little bitty bait, I mean, just terrorizes them. It's crazy. Hurts me to throw them back. Bluegill is my favorite fish to eat. I'd rather eat bluegills than eat anything. But like I say, this is a small lake. It won't survive us all keeping a bunch of bluegills. So leave these for fun. Go out on the big waters, and you know what I was saying earlier about learning everything about a creek. I mean, these small little neighborhood lakes, just a little local lake to you, man, that's the place to learn fishing, and then go take that stuff and apply it on a big body of water. And then you just break down the big body of water into little sections like a little lake. You pick little lakes inside of the big lake, and that's how you learn. There's one. Oh, he's mad. You didn't think that was going to happen to you, did you? Huh. There we go. Thick female. She's got eggs already. It's pretty early for here. I think these bluegills spawn the end of April usually here. Oh, you sucker. Oh, you're gonna end on a good note right there. That'll make me make 5 more casts.